Hello, everyone. In today's episode, in the first episode of a new series for Autism Awareness Month, I'm joined with Emily, and Emily has autism. And today we're going to be having a really good conversation, and it's going to be a really nice chat. So, Emily, thank you for coming on to the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's really great to be here, especially for the first episode of Autism Awareness Month. It's really important. Definitely, I think as an autistic adult, I think it's an important topic to be talking about. So yeah, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome, Emily, because it's kind of the first time since I've done anything like this, like awareness, like a month for awareness month, like with just based around that. So it's good, and like it's gonna be nice, like hearing about your autism and everything like that. So Emily, if you could just like introduce yourself a little bit just to start.
Yeah, so I'm Emily. As we've already said, I am autistic. So I was diagnosed 15 months ago, so not that long ago, and now run my own business, trying to change the narrative of what it means to be autistic, because I realized, having done training about 5 or 6 times before I got my own diagnosis, I didn't relate to any of that information. So I sort of questioned, where is all that information coming from? So that's what I do, and I'm really passionate about it and being able to spread the word as much as I can.
Yeah. I think it's really good, because I know you do quite a lot for like autism awareness as well, because I think it's really important, like just to like, because there's so much to speak about, isn't there, about autism, because like with hobbies, with what you want to do, like what you want to talk about, because you don't have to talk about everything because there's so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very broad thing, and I think one of the first things we were talking about before we started recording is Doctor Who, because there are some amazing Tardises that we can see on the screen. So yeah, it's an interest of mine that I come back to. It's not, I think sometimes when people think of like specific interests, it's something that stays there all the time, whereas for me, Doctor Who's something that it's probably there for a few months at a time, and then I'll move on to something else, and then I'll come back to it again. And it's because we're in the process of moving house at the moment, and I've got all the box sets, and the conversation yesterday of, do we get rid of the box sets? And I was like, no. Because whilst it may not be a specific interest today, next week or when we move, it probably will be again. So they aren't going anywhere. Definitely not.
You don't want to leave them behind. Because like, is that like the is what is that like the is that the new Who or like the classic era?
So it's the new Who, so starting with like Christopher Eccleston. So I've got the box set that's in the shape of a TARDIS. I mean, it takes up so much room, and I know we're trying to downsize, but I just don't care. It looks so good, and I just it would be such a shame to get rid of something like that. So yeah, definitely.
Oh, I actually remember what you mean. Like I actually had that myself. When I was younger, he had the like the TARDIS with all of the episodes in it. And I don't know where it is. I might have sold it. I don't know, because if I did sell it, it was probably because I had lots of Doctor Who stuff anyway, and there was too much around the place. But nowadays I'll just watch an episode on BBC iPlayer, like Doctor Who, like I want to go to the different locations that are set in some of the episodes, because I feel that would be quite fun, because especially with most of it is set in Cardiff, isn't it? And like of the episodes, even up to now, like all these years later, they still go back to Cardiff and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, I think some of the new ones are filmed in Sheffield, aren't they? And I must admit, I don't know Sheffield that well, but yeah, that'd be really cool. Have you been to any of the locations so far, or is that?
No, I haven't been, but there is a couple that I got for Christmas. I got a diary, a bit looking like what it looks like River Song's diary, but it has I can actually show it. This is what it looks like.
Oh, amazing.
So
That's cool.
in there, I've been writing some of the locations that I want to go to, probably more than I hoped. Like you have some of the locations, or for anyone who's listening, or yourself, that you might recognise. You have the first in the first episode of when the Ninth Doctor, Rose, the episode was called, that centre, the shop that they went in, that is based in Cardiff, and that's the shops in Cardiff, because they kind of trick you a little bit, Doctor Who, because you think the whole episode is based in one place, but it's not. It's based in all these different places. Like you have maybe one scene in like the shopping centre, and then you have another one in London or somewhere else. Like for example, you had one of David Tennant's last episodes, like an Easter special. I think it's probably the last Easter special we've got since gonna be this year's one. And that desert was actually in Dubai, and the road bit was in Cardiff. So you could kind of tell it was going to be in a place like that, because you won't get any like places like that around here.
No, we can dream, but we won't get any places like that. Not in the UK, unfortunately.
It would be nice. It would be nice, but
very nice.
It would be nice. But
it sounds really cool to go to different locations. I know from because I also like Harry Potter, so I've been to a few of the places where they've filmed, like up at Alnwick Castle, and stood where they did the Quidditch lesson in the Philosopher's Stone, and that was amazing. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, anything like that, I'm just like, yes. Disguise it as, oh yeah, we're going on a family day out. It's not what we're really doing. But we're going to see where something happened. But yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's cool. Nice. And I think recently they did a Harry Potter like reunion, didn't they? Like with all the actors like coming back and talking to each other and going back to where it was filmed. I think I saw that they released that, and I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't watch it all. But I should go back to it really. But
yeah, you should. It was really like emotional. Well, for me, because I've got such a bond with it, it was really emotional. So yeah, it was really good.
I have been to the Harry Potter like experience world in like Watford, I think it was. Yeah, in Watford.
In Watford,
and it was pretty cool because you could go to the you could like you're on a broom, and the last bit was actually quite good with the sculpture at the end. I remember, and it was a very good experience. Like shame you couldn't go sit down in the little bits like the chairs and stuff like that. But I went to a Harry Potter experience, but when I was young I did go to a Doctor Who experience in London, and they don't really do many around here anymore, like Doctor Who experiences. But they have like I saw like Weeping Angels, because I was young, I didn't blink. That's how people don't blink. Silence was one I was say pretty scared of when I was quite young. And shame they haven't been used more, I think.
But, definitely. I think I went to a Doctor Who experience in Land's End in Cornwall a very long time ago. It was like because there was no silence, there was no Weeping Angels, and I just remember at the end, like a Dalek kind of rose up from the floor, and you'd think that'd be really scary. But like part of it was broken, so it was like dangling down, and I was like, that's really, really ruining the illusion. Like I've waited the entire experience to see a Dalek, and broken.
It's quite funny you say that, because I'm going to Cornwall this year.
Oh, there you go. I don't know if it's still there, because it was probably about 15 years ago, but it was cool if it is still there, definitely.
I am going to some sort of Doctor Who experience this year though, because in Liverpool, in the museum, they have this new thing where they're releasing like a tour thing, where you can see all like the creatures from Doctor Who and stuff like that. So I've got tickets to go to that. So I'm quite looking forward to that. 'Cause,
Amazing. Are
yeah.
you going to one of the relaxed ones? Because I know they're doing some like autism. I can't remember how they call it. I think, are they calling it autism friendly or
They might do,
relaxed
yeah.
session, something like that?
Yeah. I
Um,
think it's called Worlds of Wonder, what it's called.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't think it is autism, but I will be. I hope it's not too busy, but like I will still stay away from people, even though like the restrictions are eased and stuff. But it's something I'm looking forward to, because I haven't been anything like like a Doctor Who thing like that for ages and stuff, and like and some one actually location I'm quite looking forward to going to. Well, actually, as that's in Liverpool, I might go to at the end of Anfield Stadium, where they filmed one of the recent Doctor Who episodes. I think it was Dan's house. It was, um,
yeah.
but one of the locations I'm quite looking forward to is because in like I think it's called Griffin Gardens, where most quite a lot of episodes are filmed in these gardens. And like I think you had the Madame de Pompadour episode, was the outside bit was there, which I'm quite looking forward to do, because as well as talking about and stuff, I do like to do little clips, and got my own 10th Doctor clothes, and I might just take that to just kind of redo it. Like that's another reason I want to go to this location. So I go there, I may have a picture or a video where it was actually taken at the time, and it'd be quite cool, because the difference is you might not be seeing the actual actors, but going to a place is kind of nice feeling. I thought.
Yeah, definitely. It's like going back to a memory, isn't it? It's just really nice to, especially if it's going back to like a nice memory as well, because especially with lots of things going on in the world at the minute, it's not always happy, is it? So it's nice to go back to a nice memory and things like that.
Yeah, because you have the museum actually in Cardiff and Wales, and like you have you go in there, you'll recognise 'cause quite a lot are filmed in the museums in Cardiff. You'll recognise, oh look, an episode was filmed there. Like another one, like I think like the Van Gogh episode was filmed in there. You had the Pandora Opens one was in there as well. So you had it's quite known, and what there's a couple of really good ones that I've found. What I've found about is that an episode where the 11th Doctor first episode was like that little like the village of Amy, that's actually set in Cardiff, and the actual place which is quite cool, and the house that they got there as well. So I'll assume someone lives at the house, but I won't go in.
Yeah, maybe don't go knocking on the door.
No. No. But might have a picture outside it, maybe. No one's in.
I'm sure the people are used to it. You don't live in a house that's been used on a program like Doctor Who and expect to live in complete quiet. I don't know. I've never lived in a house that people have been that interested in, but maybe. Yeah, you'd think they'd expect it. Yeah.
And another one is if you remember when Peter Capaldi was Doctor, I think it was one of Clara's last episodes, and there was the trap street, wasn't there, in that episode? They go down this trap street, and the trap street is actually real. And it's based in Cardiff. In the episode, they trick you because they say it's in London, when the bit of it is in London, like the road they show, I think, but the actual trap street is actually in Cardiff, and it's the same street that the Rose episode was filmed in.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. it's just nice just to, I suppose, go back to all these places, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sounds really cool. Like a good thing to hopefully do over time. Yeah, definitely. And I think to get bits of people talk about like yeah, that sounds really cool. Sorry, you keep freezing on my screen.
Yeah, I just stopped talking for a minute because it did freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're back now. That's all good.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful technology. I love that when people are like, oh, autistic people, they're like, you're all great with technology. Like,
Yeah.
no. Massive stereotype. Like, some of us are. Please don't include me. Certainly not in that thing. I'm just like, no. Like, I have technology, and that's about as far as I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's early in the morning, so we're just playing that.
Yeah, like it's early in the morning. It's a Monday morning as well. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
just 2 minutes. Well, at the time of recording, it's a Monday morning. At the time of
Yeah.
going out, may not be a Monday morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I do know you post on Mondays and Fridays, but yeah, definitely may not be
Yeah.
Monday morning at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really step this early on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But Emily, what like you said you was diagnosed about 15 months ago with autism.
Yeah.
Like how was that for you, like getting diagnosed?
It was a really big thing because I think it took 11 months, which I know isn't that long, and I know people wait a lot longer than that. I think because I did the whole process during the pandemic, so I had my first appointment on that first day of national lockdown in March 2020. So it was overloading anyway because suddenly my whole routine had changed and lockdown was happening, and then so it was just a lot of waiting around, so it was very stressful. It was very uncertain times, and I'll always say that I'm convinced the way they did the final appointment was to check how I dealt with last minute changes, because they did they said, oh, we'll send you a Zoom link out 10 minutes before. It got to the time of the appointment, I still didn't have a Zoom link. So it's me like panicking, trying to get in touch with them and say, you said you'd send me a link and you haven't. So it started about 15 minutes late. And they told me how the session would go. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is fine. But it didn't even go how they'd said it was. We had questions, then we had a break. And I was expecting some activities. But instead they came back after the first break and just went, so we looked at all the evidence and decided you're autistic, which was quite an abrupt way of delivering it, having now seen my report, which is not as clear or evident or abrupt or anything like that. So it was a shock because, like I say, I've done that training so many times and just thought, no, I just thought it was mental health that I was struggling with. And I am struggling with mental health. I'm not saying that it's all autism. Finding that line of what's autism, what's mental health is quite a difficult one sometimes. So it was a shock, but I think a good shock, if that makes sense, because I was just like, oh, it makes sense why nothing has worked, and I've always been told, oh, you're not trying hard enough, that's why no improvements being made. But yeah, it's yeah, it was a big moment, but a good moment. I think it needed to happen. I wish it didn't take till I was 27, I'll be honest, but better late than never, I suppose. Is that the saying? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I
Um,
suppose, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like it is like it takes a while, doesn't it, to get diagnosed. Like I remember, well, I probably don't remember as much as you because I was only little.
Right, okay.
But I remember going to Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, having all these tests done. Probably going back there a few times to getting the test done, and like like I don't have as much. I didn't have really understanding what it was at the time. Of being autistic and not knowing what it does to you or what happens. And for me, I just struggled with maybe bits of work, on not understanding, ask for help and stuff like that. And I did go to a secondary school, and then I did go to more of a special school, people with autism, which is lovely. It was much better than mainstream. But um, like I always speak to lots of people about it, and we all say the same. Like mainstream should have a more understanding or have more training about autism. And then there wouldn't, I suppose, be a need for special schools as such.
Yeah.
Like if mainstream schools was like that anyway, and understanding and supportive, that would be nice in an ideal world.
That would be in an ideal world, there'd be no need for kind of special schools. It would be everyone goes to I mean, obviously I went to mainstream because didn't have a diagnosis, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, it was just, yeah, even like reading my reports, it just screams, how did you not know I was autistic? And I know a lot of people say, oh well, autism wasn't a thing when you were at school, and I just thought, was I out that old? Like, I don't think autism's been a thing for a lot longer than I've been around. So yeah, so it's just, yeah, very shocking. So yeah, I'm glad that you were kind of able to have a much kind of nicer experience, well, hopefully a nicer experience in special school, as opposed to kind of did you try mainstream secondary, or was it just mainstream primary?
I did. I did go. I had year 7 in the mainstream, and then I went to special school like just after Christmas, then to year 8 at the time. And yeah, I suppose it was hard at first, like moving and everything, but like I made some good friends, and I didn't really have many. It wasn't something I focused on really at mainstream. Um, I wasn't really enjoying my time then. There'd be like things that they would pick out, like not asking for a tie was like what wasn't asked, to ask for someone to put a tie on at mainstream. You would ask them, and they would say they would kind of watch you struggle. They'll ask you to do it yourself, and like I wouldn't be asking if I knew how to do it, I wouldn't come up to you and say, "Can you help me?"
Yeah, I totally relate to that. If you didn't need help, why on earth would I ask?
Yeah, I just did it myself.
Yeah. So if I could do it myself, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so relatable. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is actually why, at the end of the day, if I had PE, I wouldn't bother, because it is how they make me feel. Because there's always someone standing out the gate of the school saying, if you've only got your time, they'll point it out. And that's just that's the time what I'm saying. Like this person, I said, oh, I'm going home, and they said, you got to put I got to put my tie on. Considering I'm out of school grounds, which you shouldn't really need to do, but he watched me struggle doing it, and then from that day, if I had PE, I would just run out and see a teacher not seeing me, and I'll run to the car, and which shouldn't be the case. Like you shouldn't have to run. They should just help you. Like in drama once, it's the same situation. The guy would say, I don't know how to do it, as an excuse. I'm not allowed to do it, because I suppose he says he doesn't know how to do it. I don't know what that means. Does he actually not know how to do it, or does he just don't want to do it? And the situations like that, like possibly I got a detention for going to the library, because in my mind I got asked to go to the library, but of course there was a mixed communications, because there was a few people like me going to the library waiting to go in. Then we go back, get a detention, getting really bad anxiety about it, and then the following day the head of year comes in and says, well, why are you late? And he says, and another one who spoke up, because one has to, otherwise we're getting told off for something that wasn't our fault. And then at the end he says, I'll let you off on this one. And because at that time I wasn't confident, at that time I had no confidence in me, and I look back at it now, and I would have said what I was thinking. What I do now, like if I'm thinking something, or like for a point that needs to be made, I'll do it. But at that time I didn't. So in my head I was thinking, why do I need to be let off? I didn't do anything wrong.
It's like, but I don't understand what I've done wrong, so how can I be punished for something? It just makes literally no sense. There's lots of things that need to be done to change mainstream school, definitely, to make them more inclusive.
Definitely.
I know there's lots of petitions around at the moment, isn't there, of sign this to make specific training mandatory. Things they do training, I don't think it's the fact that it's not mandatory, it's the fact that it's not being done by the correct people. I don't know. It's just it's the fact that the information's there, like, and they're still not, like, my reports say things like Emily needs to not be distracted by noise, not people, like noise. It's just come on, things like that. And Emily, lots again, PE, not my thing. Really not. Like, the coordination for me was just not happening. It's like, Emily's just about at age-related standards, and it's like, great, okay. And just like, remember, it was the high jump where you have to jump over like a pole and land on a crash mat. I just remember I couldn't do it. There was just like the whole class did it apart from me. So they made them all stand there and watch me. And it's like, it doesn't matter how many people are watching. Like, if I can't do it, I can't do it. And it's like, you're just embarrassing me and making me. I think the next lesson, I was like, oh, I've forgotten my PE kit. I hadn't. It was in my locker. Like, I'd never forget my PE kit. It's just, there is no way you're getting me to do this twice. Like, once was enough. Thank you. I did that a lot with PE. There was a lot of, I'm not doing that. Just not today.
I think in teachers' minds, they think like that they're helping you in that way. Like, I think they wouldn't see it from your point of view. Like you're making me feel like an idiot here. But like in their mind, they're thinking that if you try more, like in front of the class, not realizing like everyone's watching, that you might get better and be able to do it. But they just don't understand, do they? Like, these teachers.
No, it's I mean, I'm sure there are, because I know, like, I get contacted by teachers who are also autistic, so I know that there are some out there who are really doing their best, but it's difficult. I know there are lots of pressures on teachers and things like that. Having done, I am a qualified teacher, so I understand kind of that background as well, but it's just very hard. And you just think, oh, come on, please, just make the small change, or or go and see what they do in special schools, because I'm sure there's a lot that could be learned from that. I mean, I've spent much time. I did like a day placement in a special school when I was at university. That was cool. But again, they gave the impression that autism was something to be scared of. because the first sentence that was said to me when I walked into the classroom was, "Hi, I'm whatever her name was. If I say run, run fast." And I went, "I beg your pardon." you if you say what? Like, I don't run fast. Like, that's not in my like repertoire of things I can do. Why do I need to run? So immediately I think that was the impression of, you know, if you're autistic, if you know somebody who's got autism, then that's something to be scared of. And it's not. I don't know if that's something you've come across as well, the idea of that autism is something to be scared of.
Yeah, I suppose I felt like that when I was younger, because I didn't understand. I thought it was all kind of bad. I did. I suppose I didn't really accept having it, and as well, when being the person that needs more help than other people, when and hiding that I need that help, which the mainstream didn't see, and they thought I was doing all right because I didn't ask for help, and just because I haven't asked for help and I'm getting on with the work doesn't mean I'm not finding it hard. It just means I know that you wouldn't do everything, like you wouldn't help me in the ways that I need help.
Yeah, which is really sad. Like, it shouldn't be that way. Yeah, and I know people saying, "Oh, well, it's harder now because there's autism's more diagnosed," and like, why is it more diagnosed? It's like, well, because there's more awareness. Like, people are understanding it a bit more, and autistic people are speaking up and doing things like this, doing podcasts and things around Awareness Month, and there's Awareness Week and World Autism Day as well. I got so confused with that last year, I'm not going to lie. So bear with me, everybody, this year, because I'm going to try understand the three and how they all overlap. But yeah, I was like, which day am I on this time? Is it the day, the week, or the month? Like, I'm confused. Yeah, but it's still an important thing that awareness is being raised, and I know we need acceptance as well, but sometimes I think, I don't know, awareness, in my opinion, I don't think there is always that much awareness. I think you say autism and people immediately go to that first assumption that they've got, whether it's, "Oh, you're all good at maths," or, "Oh, I'm so sorry," or, "You don't look it," and you just think, well, what do you want me to look like? like no. I mean, there is a video going around that says autistic people don't have horns and a tail, and I'm like, great, you're essentially saying that we're just not the devil. Like, that's the best thing you can think of to say about us. Like, you couldn't pick out autistic people in a line. Like, you can't just do a line up and go, "Oh yeah, they're autistic, they're not." Like, also, just putting it out there, I'm not saying to anybody to test that out. Please don't line up a load of people and try and guess who's autistic. That's a huge disclaimer from me. Please don't do that. But you do just sort of think, is that what you think we do? That we line up and we have particular things that are really obvious to see? Like, I don't know.
I know what you mean. Like, I think like people will think, like, if someone's more severe, got autism, more severe, that they need, that you can actually see that they struggle and stuff like that. Like, people, I suppose, like me and you, who we like, to a person who's misunderstanding about autism, they may think because we can speak, not saying anything to people who are high functioning, just saying that we can, for a person that, like, every day can speak like the way we do, and they kind of think just because we can speak like this, or we're not like high function, we haven't got high functioning autism, where we haven't got it bad, or we don't struggle with things, but we do, and it's just a misunderstanding of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like everybody's different, aren't they? So it's like you say, somebody might be standing in the line and they might be stimming. Yes, that might make it a little bit more obvious, but like you could also have somebody who's masking and wants to stim but doesn't, because that's not what everyone's doing and that's not kind of the social norm. Or so yeah, absolutely, there is that misconception. The fact that we're both having a conversation now with each other, I'm sure there's loads of people think, how can they be both autistic? Because they're talking to each other and like having a conversation. Like, yeah, but there's more ways to communicate than just talking. So yeah, just because, yeah, just to put it out there about kind of those that are non-verbal, non-speaking doesn't mean that they can't communicate. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just about seeing us as an individual, isn't it, rather than as one big, I'm gonna say umbrella, just because on the weather thing on my laptop there's an umbrella because it's raining at the minute. So that's why. um so there's a big umbrella on my screen saying rain. So I've confused myself now.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
talk our own kind of ways, don't we? Like, well, we all have our own ways. Like, I actually remember a situation, when I was at mainstream. What one thing was I got lost and I didn't know where to go at the classroom. I was a bit late and I didn't ask anyone. And then that's when teacher come up saying, "Why are you not in class?" And I said, "I'm lost." He said, "Have you got your timetable, like where you're supposed to be?" Um, and I gave it to him, and he kind of says, "You got to go there. You got to go there." And I say, I'm quite lost of what he's saying. I asked him to say it again, and then um, well, no, actually, it was like this. It was before I got the timetable out, actually, if I remember it correctly, because this was ages ago. Um, I I took a while getting my timetable on my bag, and he was getting he weren't, like, I could just tell from his body language he wasn't wanting to do it, and at that moment I said, "It's fine, I'll just go." Um, um, and he said, and he was like, "No, no, I'll get it out." And then even when he said to me, I didn't go to the class because I had no idea what it was, because he wasn't explaining it very well. He's saying, "Where's the classroom? Oh, you go that way, upstairs, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right." I have no clue what he's talking about. Um, and another situation where the teacher probably haven't not taken it seriously, but in my eyes he was, and he like getting changed for PE, and he said, "If you're not changed in 5 minutes, you would be locked in." And like, for an autistic person, it can take quite literally. They might have not been serious, but the way he was saying it wasn't in a jokey way. So um yeah, it's just those things where, like, it's just a misunderstanding of autism.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so frustrating. You just think, come on, like if we're lost, don't give the most complex instructions. Or I used to get lost in high school as well, so I'd often turn up to lessons like really out of breath because I'd realized I wasn't where I needed to be, and then I'd tried to run the rest of the way. And I remember getting told off for breathing heavily, and I just sort of thought, I'm not being funny, but you give me 3 minutes to get from one side of the school, down the stairs, across the playground, past the hall, up a corridor, and then up like 3-4 flights of stairs with everyone else in the school. So I've got overload as well. Like, you can't then tell me off for breathing heavily. Like, I walked through the door as the bell went. That's something, to be honest. Yeah, and like, again, PE, if I had to put anything back in my locker, I was like, I'm just not going to be able to get to a lesson on time. Yeah, because I was given a really high locker as well, which I couldn't even reach. Like, who thinks that through? Like, who gives you a locker that you're even too short? I mean, I was tall for my age, but I wasn't that tall.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, mainstream schools, I just think I don't know. I think it's harder, isn't it, in secondary, because there's so many teachers
Yeah.
compared to in primary that it's
Bigger.
like, yeah, does everyone know that you need to make those adjustments? You'd think, wouldn't you, that you'd make that adjustment for everybody? Just think, oh, I'll explain it clearly to everyone, regardless of whether they're autistic or not, or whether, you know, there's an auditory processing delay or whether it's a sensory processing delay. You'd think, because not everyone's going to go up to a teacher and say, I'm lost, I need you to explain it in this way, because the teacher's going to go, what? So, because I spoke to a lot of teachers I didn't even know when I was at secondary school. So yeah, it's just strange, isn't it? But
yeah,
it's and I suppose there's not as much one-to-one support. I don't know if you got one-to-one kind of support at secondary.
I did have like that. There was I was in like a class that had more additional support help, but the teacher wasn't very good and didn't understand. But the support teacher in there was a little bit better. I would go to her quite a lot of the time. Like there was one class that I think it was woodwork, and I couldn't do that. Like I would hurt myself, and like, and they would know that, and I can touch it. I'll be there, do that all on my own, and stuff like you had textiles, like knitting on the knitting machine, like the same thing now. I wouldn't be very good there, and I suppose I did knit a few good things, but it's not something I would do. Again,
No. Yeah.
I would normally get well, in the past, if someone needed knitting, my dad would do it. He has I couldn't do it myself, like probably a little bit, but it takes time to learn those kind of things. But yeah, I did have there was the head of years, like so person who works with the head of year, like you can go to her quite a lot of the time. I did, but it still weren't it was good, but she's busy. You have to go in there sometimes, book appointments with her and stuff like that. But I suppose the more support staff were more understanding than the actual teachers there, and teachers would say, yeah, I know what you mean, I understand, like, you've done really well. And I suppose they kind of fib a little bit, just as I suppose keep parents happy and stuff, because they know if they're not, they'll be on their case, and they don't want that.
yeah, you don't want, I mean, I don't know if there's a course, isn't there, about working with hostile parents. Do you think they're not hostile parents, are they? They're parents of children who need additional support in school, who are not hostile. They're just so fed up with the support not being provided. So you just think, oh, please phrase that differently, because they're not. I mean, I'm sure my mum would have been described as hostile when I was at school for that reason. She was always on the phone like, why haven't you done that? And that was without a diagnosis. It was like, come on, you know, she's saying that this is happening, why is that not happening, or why are you not letting her do that and stuff? But the woodwork and the sewing thing, again, in clearing out, we found out something I made in a sewing class, and I didn't sew anything. It's all just like iron on print things, and I think that's it, because I couldn't thread the needle, so I was like, I'm not even going to attempt, not even going to do it. And things like food tech as well, like I remember making a shepherd's pie, so like mince and mash, and I was like, I can't even peel a potato, so I had to get my mum to peel it and mash it, and I brought mash ready-made to school, and they're like, that's not part of the activity. And I was like, but it is part of the activity, because I'd spend most of my lesson in the first aid room if you ask me to peel or chop anything. So yes, it is already chopped and peeled and mashed, and I will heat it up. But how I got an A in food tech, I have no idea. Because it was baking, and I can bake, I can't cook. Because there was no chopping up required with baking. So yeah, just things like that. You just think,
Yeah,
It was just this, why are you doing that? And it's like, well, you're not questioning the fact that can everyone peel a potato? And it's all right saying, oh, this is how you do it in a very quick demonstration.
Yeah.
In like, there's no additional anything to support with that. Like, if I tried to put, well, I've tried to peel a potato, it just ends up with plasters and injury, and yeah, it's not worth trying sometimes. So yeah.
I think like an idea is like if they say what you're cooking for next week, like have a plan ready for next lesson. What we should do is go home, I'll ask your parents to, I'm cooking this for next week, help me cook this, and I'll bring it in and I'll say I've done it and I've done the work. And then they'll say and then they put and then I suppose you can say like and then they say, oh, we're supposed to be doing this in class, not not now, not at home. And then would they say well well I wonder what you have to be doing now, maybe write the method what you did in the order that you did it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I did, it's not what anyone else did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was we made like apple, are they called apple turnovers? So it's like pastry and then like cooked down apples.
I love it.
But they told us to buy ready-made pastry. I won't say the brand, but like ready-made pastry, and then a tin of apples. So literally all you had to do was roll out the pastry, open the tin and pour it in. And I was like, apart from opening the tin, which was an issue, I was like, I can do this. That's not a lesson though.
Yeah.
And then put them in the oven. It's just like, that's not, I hope that wasn't meant to be an inclusive thing of not everyone can chop and peel, so we'll just ready-made pastry and a tin.
Yeah, I was in food tech. I always needed support as well, which they didn't really understand, and until I was cutting, I used a peeler for an apple or something, and I didn't do it properly, and I cut myself and I was bleeding, and then I had to, and then they said I could go to the sink, and I didn't even see I was bleeding. I said I'm bleeding, and then they take me to the sink, so it wasn't even supervising properly, which was not good, and like my mum wasn't happy with that. Like yours, she's kind of on the ball, and like especially to get into a special school in the end, like it's really hard work. You have to have like an EACHP, fight with like the people behind that, and to get in special schools, because there's always like a limited amount of spaces to get in one. And I wanted to get in this particular one, and I looked at another one and I didn't like it as much, even though in that years down the line I did do some work experience there, because I like doing sports coaching, and I did that for work experience at another special school, which was very good. It was nice, that side of things, the sports side of things, but the actual teaching and people there, I didn't at the time when I joined the special school which I thought to get in, I liked the special school I was in more. And they actually had a college afterwards, which I did go, but not for long, because I wanted to meet new people and I got more confidence. Then I went to actually a mainstream college, which it was actually good, but I suppose there wasn't, because of pandemic, there wasn't understanding with my health like needs, because say that the pandemic says like the government says we can go that, we can no lockdown, we can go back now, and they would kind of think like that, not like the health side of things, more the government have said you can do that, you got to go in, you have to, otherwise you can't come in, basically. Which is quite upsetting, but because I would like to possibly done another course there maybe, and met some more people there, but I did move from there to another place that is more understanding, but
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it is hard, and but what can we do?
I know, it's, you just think like the pandemic has been awful, but there has been like big advancements of things like, oh yeah, you can be more flexible with where you study or where you work, yeah, and it's like, oh, it's like I'm saying that I know it's not over. I've just had COVID. I'm fully aware it's not over.
Um,
So it's far from over, despite what the news says. And you just think, oh, where have all these wonderful advancements gone that we've had for the past 2 years? Like,
yeah,
it's for sure. I'm glad you've been able to find somewhere that's been more understanding again. That's you just
yeah,
sort of hope that more places continue to be like that. And I know a lot of places are doing like half and half, like you do a couple of days at home and a couple of days in the office, things like that. So
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
hopefully we'll see more of that in the coming months. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. For
Yeah.
me, I do all my work at home because at the actual place they don't have a ventilation. There's no windows and there's an aircon. So
Yeah.
if it, and if so people sneeze or something, go it's going to ventilate around the whole room. If with the aircon, isn't it? And it's not a big room.
Yeah, definitely with those things in places. And I just, the ventilation in any kind of academic settings, like colleges, schools, doesn't seem to be great. I know there's some
Mm.
colleges near me where the windows don't even open, and you're like, oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. Why? Why?
No, thank you.
Mm.
Like, who thought this through? I mean, obviously, when it was built, nobody thought we were going to have a pandemic
No.
that I'm aware of. So,
Yeah.
but you do think, oh, come on, sometimes in the summer, you do just want some fresh air, don't you? You don't want recycled air,
Mm.
you want fresh air.
Yeah,
But,
definitely. There was actually a situation before the pandemic. I was at work experience at like a direct meat place because it's not something I would say as an ideal job for me, but it was nice because like well, not at first I suppose because I had to explain my autism, and it's quite interesting that no one really knew about it, or understood about it. So I explained that, and like they changed the way they do things there now because me explaining about autism and my Crohn's like illnesses, and like they've changed things there, and like I did it. They liked me that much. I was actually getting paid for doing the work experience there, and as much as I went, but due to pandemic, I couldn't go there anymore. Really, quite a lot stopped since that. But yeah, it was sort of explaining autism. I suppose it was quite nice because you're explaining it to different people. That it's not going to be the same for me as another person that you see. Might have some similar things, but it's not always going to be the same.
yeah, definitely. Like, it's asking, that's really good that they've asked you as an individual about autism and what it means to you. And I just think that's so important to ask, no matter what our age is. I'm just going to say this now because I know there is a very big tendency with children to ask the parent. But yeah, ask the child if they want to tell you kind of about autism. It's like that thing of talking to the parent instead of the child. You just think, oh, come on, the child is fully aware
Yeah,
most of the
so
time of what you're saying. So it's
that's it.
yeah.
That's it. Emily, but before you was diagnosed, was you aware of autism or like at all before your diagnosis?
So I had some awareness of autism from having done training, like as I was training to be a teacher, and then when I was working in schools and museums afterwards. So I had some understanding, and I'd worked. One of my jobs was to support children who had additional needs in school, including being autistic, but didn't get enough funding for a one-to-one. So I'd work with them in kind of small groups. So I had an understanding. Just not. It just really was hard to relate it to me. I just think all the training, it was always kind of boys under the age of 10 who were either non-verbal or non-speaking and liked trains and computers. And I was just like, that's just not me. Like, obviously, I'm not a boy or under 10. I'd like to be under 10 again. I'd like to go back. Less responsibility. Go back to then. But yeah, I don't really stop speaking most of the time. Trains, I mean, I've got to get a train later today. We'll see how that goes, but it's not usually my favorite thing. And computers, I think I've already said, it's just like I have one, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, it's a huge thing of stress for me. So,
Yeah.
and again, like understanding your sensory needs, it was always, oh, well, sensory needs means you don't like loud noise. And to me, I don't mind loud noise, it's the background noise. So I was always like, oh, well, I can't be autistic because I don't like relate to it. There were a couple of times I was like, oh yeah, I do that and I do that.
Yeah.
But never to the extent of going, oh yeah, I should go get a diagnosis. It was only because I was in a mental health crisis that somebody was
Yeah.
like, I think you should go get a diagnosis. Because it's going to, well, they said it'll make a big difference and you'll get loads of support. I'm still waiting for the support bit, if I'm totally honest, as are many across the country and across the world. So yeah, that was how it was built, as we'll give you support if you go and, or you'll get support. But yeah, it's all been, I think, just talking to people like yourself and other people in the community who are autistic, and just hearing about other people's experiences and being able to share my own experiences. And yeah, I know there are some parents as well out there sharing younger children's stories as well, and it's interesting because there's little things that I'm like, oh yeah, I really relate to that when people share what their children are doing. Obviously, I'm not saying please share every detail of a child's diagnosis and everything online, but for those that do, it is really kind of helpful to see like little bits of information.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's relatable. So that's been like a huge thing for me.
Yeah. Like for me, I don't like loud noise either. Like for example, a meeting or something, and if someone else makes a loud noise on their plate, like people eat like really heavy, I won't like that, and some people will never do that. So I say, can you stop? I don't do it quieter, and then occasionally you might get as a joke, I'll do it loud, but that's me, and I'll put hands on my head saying no, I don't like that, and that's why I'm sensory and stuff, and don't like getting touched when I'm not asked, or like loud noises. Even though I say I don't like loud noises like that, that's more like that. But I'll go to a football match and celebrate the team I support. And that's a kind of different setting for me. So if someone said I don't like loud noise, it's like in that kind of situation where someone's eating or something like that, and like and then I'm noticing how come someone else can eat that loud, and for me, I might make a little like the normal like noise that you would make, but not like really really loud, which it does baffle me, that does.
Yeah, I do, like noisy eaters. I do find myself going, well, I don't make that noise when I eat, so why do you? Like, why do you need to do, like, if I can audibly hear you breathing whilst chewing, no.
Yeah.
And that is just made sure that nobody eats near me ever again.
Maybe because they eat fast. I don't know, because maybe if you eat fast, you make louder noise, or if you eat slow, you don't.
Yeah, I'm a slow eater, so maybe I just don't eat quick enough.
Yeah. I don't want to get like into digestion, but I do take my time. If I something I like, I might go a bit faster than normal, but but yeah, like like Emily, like being a qualified teacher, is that like the job you do like currently now?
No, so when I was doing my degree, I really, really struggled. I was undiagnosed and I couldn't. I basically, there is a photo that was taken during my last placement, so that was about 7 years ago now, and I looked so ill because I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't taking any breaks because I was like, I have to get this done, and my perfectionist side was coming out of like every lesson plan had to be done, it had to be spell checked, which now, like, unless it's something I'm sending out, the chances are if it's just for me, it is not going to be spell checked. And just like the perfectionist side of it was really coming through. So I made the decision during my final year that I wasn't going to go into full-time teaching. So I've delivered like education programs in museums for schools and for university students as well. I've taught the military in museums as well, which was quite cool. And I have worked in a school as a teaching assistant, but now I am self-employed, have been for a year now, so running my own business, changing the narrative of what it means to be autistic and trying to make the world just a little bit more inclusive to our needs, and understanding of what it means to be autistic. So I do use the skills that I use in teacher training, but it's not what I do now. I don't think my health, especially with the pandemic, I don't think my health and working in a school is a good combination, to be honest.
Like the pandemic can be like really tough, like when people get autism and like health as well, because I'm quite similar to that. Like I've been self-isolating and kind of and staying. I'll meet people, don't get me wrong, but I asked them to do a test. I asked them to keep a little bit of distance, which of course now and it's gone, isn't it? It's virtually going to be gone, and it's like there's a little bit forgotten now with that side of things, like with the pandemic, and like even though that all them are gone, I'm still going to be doing those things that were you would originally do, and like I haven't had COVID, I suppose, because I'm really careful about seeing people and doing stuff, but I do want to do different things, like I said, like the two locations, and I think I said about Cornwall earlier. But yeah, it is like mental health has been tough. It has been tough during the pandemic, and like it's hard to speak to like people sometimes who don't really understand. Like you have people who will just if they don't have a health condition, really, they wouldn't. I suppose there were no codes around. Well, but it's hard to if you don't have to focus on something that is with you, like you may think I can do more things more riskier because I may not get COVID as bad as someone that has these conditions.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I know that I'm aware of, I don't have underlying conditions, but having had it, having been really careful for 2 years, and I am triple jabbed, it was not nice in any way. So people that say, oh, it's just a cold, it felt like a cold, but like the most horrendous cold I could have possibly had. And it, like, even now, like I'm nearly a week out of having it, and I'm still like brain foggy a little bit, like my brain doesn't work quite how I would like it to. So it's, I'm annoyed that I got it because I have been so careful. So it's just I think that was why everyone filming, like I'm just so annoyed that I got it after being so careful. But yeah, it's certainly not just a small thing to not be taken seriously.
Do you have any idea like how you might have got it, like at all?
Yeah, I think I got it from a work thing. So I do think, well, there's a couple of places, but I think that's the most kind of likely scenario. So yes. So the one time I was like, oh, I just won't wear a mask.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, for that particular thing, it was not right to be wearing one. But yeah. So yes. So I will still carry my mask everywhere. So my mask will still be being worn. I will still social distance. So yeah, that's
that's good, because people think like you can get COVID like let's say just on someone sneezes. They're the more obvious signs of catching COVID. Like someone sneezes, so someone's near you. But there's also like in schools like desks, like you've got desks that people touch. You've got like at home, if you're getting like a letter like come through, of course the guy who's mailed it has got it. And then like shopping, if you're getting shopping, well, of course, like in a shop, if you do it via shop, like someone might pick someone up and put it back down. So So you've got all those sorts of things, and some people don't understand, like thinking it like that. They kind of think like someone who don't understand or not vulnerable or as worried about it all. They might think you've been over the top, but it's just been like it's your health is the most important thing. Because you would rather have a good knowledge of these kind of things rather than like possibly catching it, and like even though it's really little things, like even just the one time that like you said, like I thought you take the mask off but probably because you've been so careful for the 2 years, and then it can just happen, and I suppose it's just really unlucky.
Yeah, it was because the people I was with, again, like with the testing thing, like we'd all tested that day and we were all negative. So I was like, oh, we're fine. So just because everyone's negative at that time doesn't mean
No,
yeah.
no, because
So I sound very preachy now, but yeah, I'm just
yeah.
I mean, I've had it happened, didn't it? I got it, and I just will go back to being as cautious as I was before.
Like with the natural flow test, it's not like 100%, are they? Like
no.
they give you an indication, but it's not like 100%. So I don't always believe it. Like if a friend does say it is done, but like it can change just like that. I think the ones at the hospitals are more accurate. Well, when I went for a procedure last year and I had to have one, it was quite annoying actually, because I had the CPR test. I had to go to the little, it's looked like a little petrol station. You just go in, but put your arm out the window, and then it's in. And it's so annoying it was, because the person I wanted to do the actual procedure wasn't in, and they didn't tell us, and it was so annoying because I had to come back like a couple of days later or a week later and do the whole process again. And I was thinking I'd done this a minute ago, and I could tell the difference, because one person put like it up when they put up the nose, they didn't do it all the way. And then the next guy did, because I think you have to so you can get a catch. And because I think I said, because I'm quite sensitive around that area, I get nosebleeds quite often, and I just said about that, and he didn't really do it. I suppose the first guy didn't do it as properly as he should have. He just wanted me to do that, but yeah, I think they are the better ones. But if you have a test that the people do it, it's good on the people that do the test, because at least you're showing that you kind of care about like the people you're meeting up with.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. As well, like with the pandemic, do you feel like now, because of what's going on in the world at the moment, like the last couple of days, do you feel like the pandemic won't be as talked about as much now? Like the news, like of course.
Actually, So I'm thinking about the news program that we watch through the week in this house, and I don't think COVID was even mentioned this morning.
No.
I don't know. I didn't watch the full 3 hours because I had other things to do. But I don't. Was it even mentioned?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was mentioned. So I would say it's going to be stopped being talked about.
Yeah.
I think the last time I heard them talk about it on the.
I think it was actually last week. I think there was a meeting. Boris Johnson had a meeting in he had a meeting talking about like the reduce of restrictions, and then just recently, since I'm not going to say, but as we know what's happening in another place in the world, which fingers crossed things improve and not get as bad, because it's very upsetting down there.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully there'll be a better picture by the time this goes out in April.
I hope so. But what the things we're hearing at the moment, actually, as we speak today, I think the two nations are actually meeting. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It doesn't get any worse. But hopefully, like you say, by the time this comes out April, as today, we kind of as it's an episode going out in April. Let's say we're speaking in April.
Let's say we're speaking in April.
We're speaking in April.
And when I said about it raining earlier, it's gorgeous sunshine outside.
Yeah. When you just said that, it wasn't raining where I am. It might have done really lightly, but I could just see it's nice.
It's really miserable here today.
Okay. A lot of things, Emily. Just before we finish, one thing I just wanted to mention, in actually May, I'm doing a an autism speech at a place, because recently I went to the venue where it is, and it's probably the first time I met some few people in a venue, and I did keep my mask up. People made sure they do their flow test, because kind of asked for them to do that, and they did, because you don't have to do that anymore. And I'm going to be doing a speech there about autism. I possibly will ask someone to record me, to record me on their phone, not mine. I don't want to have such a mine. COVID's still here, but
Yeah.
I haven't done. I suppose I haven't really done an autism speech. I've done it about my Crohn's, really, but I haven't really done it as depth into autism. And I think it's something I want to do. And it's probably about 5 minutes long, but 5 minutes is kind of enough to talk about something around autism.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. Yeah, and like you say, like 5 minutes is a starter thing is definitely if it's the first thing that you've done on autism rather than Crohn's, that's definitely a really good place to start, to just and I just think other people in that room will go, oh, actually what you've just said was really good, and they'll kind of, obviously if you've got a thing that says don't approach me at the end, I hope nobody will crowd around you at the end.
That's a good point, actually.
So make sure you've got that on like your list. That's one thing I say if I'm feeling quite overwhelmed at the end of doing a talk, as I will say, just give me 5 minutes before anyone approaches, so that you don't get like I can't answer any questions. So hopefully following those kind of adjustments, you'll get kind of more people asking you to talk about things. So it's good that you've already seen the venue as well.
It's very nice, and I think I'm doing mine. I forgot what I said now. I think it is the morning. It might be in the morning, because I had to book a slot, because I was one of the first ones there in advance, so I get the choice if I want the morning or the afternoon. And I'm sure I said the morning, because more people, I suppose, are in the morning. And it'd be quite nice. And now you mentioned it, I will mention at the end, don't approach me at the end, because there probably will be a fair few people there. And I've actually got a vulnerable card on me, so I might wear that, just to say got a low immune system and stuff like that. So thank you, Emily, for that.
Yeah, it's all right. Just thinking of my experience of sometimes you do get crowded, so things like the lanyard or things like that are really important to have.
Well, it's been really nice speaking to you, Emily, but just before we finish, I just want to ask you, is there like any advice that you would give to anyone maybe who would like to get into like autism, or anyone who's actually got it, advice for them?
I think just to find people within the community that you relate to and that you understand. Maybe sometimes it's not always people that you relate to, but if it's somebody else who's autistic, kind of trying to find out more about the experiences. And just if you want to do a talk on it like you're doing, that sounds amazing, just to get in touch with people and just say, especially around April, say, I'd like to come and share it. If you're in a workplace and you think, oh, I wish they could do a bit better with accessibility for autistic people, ask if you could just, in a team meeting or on a one-to-one, just speak about kind of your experiences. And you never know, that could be really powerful for other people in the organization. Just even if it's little bits, even small things make a difference. That would be my advice.
I totally agree there, Emily, and it's really good advice. And it's been great speaking to you as like the first episode of this new series of Autism Awareness Month. But it's been a pleasure speaking to you, Emily, today.
Great to speak to you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.